actually like live, even though it doesn't tell you it's live.
I think we're live.
We're alive. Okay, cool. Hi, Dawn. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hey, Erin. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, could you tell us your official new cool title and just a little bit about what you do and how you got to where you are, the whole thing?
The whole 9 yards. Sure, absolutely.
Yes.
So I'm a nutrition evangelist. And what does that mean? Well, that means that I love food and I'm super passionate about helping you love your food and bring the food and the fun and the variety back into it. I think, especially as women, we get so sucked into the diet mindset of the world that we stop having fun. And then things spiral out of control from there.
Just pulling up our event so I can see if anybody's commenting while we're talking.
Absolutely.
So I always forget to do that. Okay.
Yeah, let me know if anybody has any questions for sure. And how did I get here? Well, gosh, I love food. I love to travel. So I like to say that I travel by stomach. I like to get acquainted with different places and their cultures by trying their cuisine and trying their wines and their flavors and walking around the cities. And that's really influenced how I've had my healthy journey. It's really been following a trail of breadcrumbs. There's no like one single thing that happened that, where the light bulb went off and said, I have to do this. It's been a long journey, and I've learned so many things over my journey that I love to share with people, and I love to bring all of those different things, my experiences, to someone else's experience and journey. And
Awesome.
well,
I cannot wait to dive into this because I love mindset. That's why we started talking about this originally. Yeah. And what would you say to somebody who asks how important is mindset in the healthy journey, losing weight journey, whatever you want to call it?
Mindset is everything. And you're probably going to smile and nod your head at that, right? Because mindset is everything. There's a great old saying, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that applies to everything you do in your life. Of course, we're talking about your health right now. And so if you jump onto the latest, fad diet and go, all right, I'm going to do this one. And if this one doesn't work, I'm just going to curl up in a corner with a pint of Ben & Jerry's and that's it. I'm calling it quits. Well, you've already started off with the assumption in your mind that it's not going to work if you approach it that way. If instead you approach it, whatever you're doing, with, first of all, this is not a diet. This is my life. This is my body. How I feed it influences everything, how I think, how I move, how I feel. If you approach it with the perspective of, I'm taking care of myself. I love myself. I love my body. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for the people that I love. I will tell you, I work out in the morning because I am a more pleasant person for the people around me. And that's really important for my family, right?
And it makes you feel good instead of just like, I have to work out because I have to lose the last 5 pounds or whatever, 30 pounds, whatever. Yeah. So what do you say to somebody who comes to you and says, Dawn, I really want to lose 20 pounds? Like, where do you start with them?
Well, my first question is why. Where we always start with why, because if you don't have a good reason why, and you can have a temporary reason why. I'm a bridesmaid in my friend's wedding and they already bought the dress and I've got to fit into it, right? That's okay for a short term, but you need to have a why that's going to keep you going. For me, my reason why has always been my kiddo. I want to be able to keep up with him. Now, of course, he's taller than me, he's stronger than me. That's a different story right now. But, I want to be able to run around with him. I want to be able to do things. I want him to see me as a role model.
Yeah, and I guess I'm asking even too about like that deeper aspect of, are you helping your clients to see like, hey, this isn't about the weight at all? Like this is about who you are, how you feel, who you are inside. And then the weight is a natural outcome of that. Or losing the weight is a natural outcome of that.
Absolutely. When you dig into why, the things that come up most often are energy. You know, really people are tired and they think that if they're going to lose weight, then they'll have more energy. And sure, you know, you're dragging around a little bit less, but really you're going to have more energy because you're feeding your body better fuel. And so you're going to feel better. So it's about energy. It's about longevity. You know, I have a long history of the women in my bloodline dying of early deaths. And so that's another strong motivator for me to not be that person. And so you have to dig into why. And yeah, it almost always starts with, I want to lose 20 pounds. And then it becomes something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times about health coaching in sort of comparison to business coaching. I think they have a lot of analogies because, you know, people come in my door with, you know, I want to hit whatever income goal, right? Whatever that is for them. And they might not have even have defined that goal yet, but I want to grow my business. I want to grow my income, right? That's what they come in the door with. And then really we're working on all these other things underneath of that, you know, how they feel about themselves, what they're sort of, you know, doing on a bigger plane, bigger mission. And I feel like with the health coaches, I know that's kind of the same thing. People come in the door with the I want to lose a bunch of weight, and yet it's really about this bigger, deeper mission of who do you want to be in the world? How do you want to show up? You know, who are you as a person kind of work really at its core. Would you, I mean, I kind of put words in your mouth. Would you say that's true?
It's 100% true. And I suspect our methodologies are very similar too, right? You know, I like to say that we're not on a journey to make you a runaway model. We're on a journey for you to be a role model, whether it's for yourself or your family or for your community. It's about how you show up and who do you want to be.
Who do you want to be? Yeah. And how do you show up? Yeah. So, following on that train of thought, how do you actually coach somebody through the losing of 20 pounds? Are you guys talking a lot about food? Are you talking a lot about movement? Are you talking, open question.
We're talking about it all. So I talk about the triangle of health, which is eat, move, and recharge. And I'm a science geek from way back, right? So the triangle from its structural perspective is super strong shape, right? However, it's only as strong as its weakest leg. So if you've got eat, move, and recharge, and one of them is not getting enough attention, then your triangle starts to collapse, which means your health starts to collapse. And so we look at it all, right?
I love how you named the recharge piece because I think that's one that doesn't even really get addressed most of the time. It's like that's when your muscles build. That's when your energy has time. Yeah, so powerful. I always think there's this sort of deeper metaphysical thing going on when we talk about weight loss or business income or any of the things that everybody's like out there talking about all the time. And it's this process of like letting go of the need to have any sort of outcome. How do you address that from if you address that from a weight loss perspective? What do you kind of work around with people around that?
So I look at a bunch of different things. When we talk about recharge, we're talking not just about the physical recharge, but also the emotional recharge. So aspects of that are finding joy in your journey. And that it's everything that people think it is. And it's also about having great food, fun flavors, spices. I bring, all of my international travels and the fun and the flair and all of the differences, pairing a great wine with a meal if you imbibe. All of those things are about having the joy in your journey and having the gratitude and how to tune into that. Now, obviously, my biggest area of expertise is food, but I can tell you that if you don't have those pieces, you're never going to be successful with improving your food journey as well.
Yeah, because you're always focused on the negative, the what I don't have, the it's not working, the I don't feel good in my body, I'm too overweight, I'm too fat, whatever the things we're saying to each other, instead of the better mantras.
Right. Look at what my body can do. I can lift up this case of whatever. I can carry myself through the day. I can. I carried a child. You know, all of these amazing things that we can do that we never acknowledge. So that's one way in which I address that. And then everyone's got a different personality. There are always going to be some people who are numbers driven and people for whom numbers are scary, intimidating, and make them angry. And for the numbers people, we talk about how we're going to measure things. And we don't talk about scales. I like people to throw out their scales, but we're going to talk about, you know, how's your energy today on a scale of 1 to 10? How do you feel in your skin? How do you feel in your clothes? Maybe how is your skin look? Because that's a reflection of your internal health. There's so many different ways that we can measure things that have nothing to do with the number on the scale.
So where do you start with people? Like, other than the why, where do you start with them? Like, is it looking at their food? Is it doing a food diary? Or is it, I have another friend that does like an intuitive eating process. Is it kind of getting them really comfortable with, is there like this dawn process that they have to follow? Or is it very based on the person?
So it's my eat, move, and recharge system, right? So we start off with why. We talk about where they want to go. We talk about where they are. You know, we do some very simple self-assessments on where you are with your food and your movement, and, you know, what sort of recharging you do in your daily life, and where you want to get to. And we work on a different thing every week. It all depends upon where they have places that they want to improve and where their goals are. So it really is a customized approach. At the same time, it is a system.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're working on one aspect of something every week. And we're talking about what successes do you have to celebrate from last week? What challenges did you have last week? And where did you do against, we'll set little micro goals for each week. And they could be, I'm going to get up from my desk every hour, right? Just for 2 minutes every hour, I'm going to get up and walk around my house. Or they could be, I'm going to run 5 miles because I'm training for a 5K. So everybody's individual, but we're going to talk about how you did against those goals, and we're going to set some new goals for next week. And in that way, we make progress week over week towards wherever you want to go.
How much do you feel like you're working on the subconscious, like the old narratives, the old stories?
That's a great question. So for every change we make, there are 4 steps to it. The first one is identifying where you are. The second is identifying where you want to go. The third is, you know, making sure you've got a course plotted with some fun and variety in it. And that 4th step is the key one. It's about making it a habit. Mm-hmm. And that's all in the mind. That's all in the mind about whether you talk about it being muscle memory or whether you talk about making it a habit. It's all the same about changing the way you do things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, the analogy of health coaching and business coaching is it's just so present for me of, you know, what are the habits that are going to move somebody forward, you know? And those are different for everybody, I'm sure. And I'm sure in your world too, they're different for everybody, you know, because like you said, it depends where they're starting from. If they're already at the point where, you know, they're running marathons every weekend or whatever, then they have a different thing. They're probably going to have to work on that recharge a lot more, you know, like, okay, maybe not every weekend, you know, or whatever. But if you come from a totally sedentary lifestyle, then it's going to be different habits that we have to build. So, is there anything that you say this absolutely has to happen. This absolutely has to be a must in your life?
Well, I can't say universally for everybody that there's a must that they must do, because part of my biggest platform is that we're in a non-judgment zone here. Wherever you are, it's okay. That's where you're starting from. We're going to start from wherever you're starting from. And I can't tell you must get anywhere. It's up to you where you want to go. I'm here to help coach and facilitate, help you navigate all the twists and the turns and the speed bumps, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you do it. Yeah.
Love that. So what is sort of the biggest mindset shift you see when you're working with your clients from, we'll take the person who comes in and wants to lose the 20 pounds, right? Like that's common, right? What do you see in those clients as they get towards the end of or maybe middle of working with you?
I think the biggest shift that people will experience is they get to a place where they're able to say, I can, and I will. Instead of when they start off, they're thinking, I don't know if I can. I don't know how. Maybe I can't. And then after working together for a little while, they develop the tools and the skills, and they get to a point where they can say, I can and I will. Maybe I don't know how for everything yet, and that's okay. But being able to say I can is huge.
That's awesome, because I think that's the key to all of it, right? I was talking about that on Facebook Live this morning, like that decision of, I can do this, I'm committing to this, I'm going to keep committing to this over and over, whatever it is. That's where all the power comes. It's not in learning some crazy system or learning some crazy diet or whatever, but it's in deciding that, you're going to make these changes in your life and they're going to move you forward in some way. Coming back to the person who walks in with, how do I lose 20 pounds? If they weren't working with you, where would they start? What could they do on their own to say, okay, tomorrow things are going to shift and change?
Sure. So, the system that I work with, the food system that I work with, it's not magic, and it's not hidden. And I've got all of that stuff in my free group. If someone wants to pop in to my group's Never Diet Again, and wants to pop in and download the files, they can absolutely take a look at what are clean proteins, clean fats, and clean carbs, and they can start making these micro shifts in how they feed their body right away. Super simple.
Awesome. So that was, the group is Never Diet Again, guys, if you didn't catch that. And what I'm always telling my clients who are coaches is, y'all, nobody comes to you for your knowledge. Like you could find everything I'm saying, everything you're saying is out there on the internet somewhere. They could go look up a diet on their own, and they're coming for something bigger than that. They're coming for us to help facilitate those shifts with them. And for you, Dawn, to really be there as they go through all the heavy stuff around, losing weight. There's a reason we gained it in the first place, and it's not just because we ate Twinkies all the time. Like there's other deeper stuff. Maybe, but
but there's a reason you're eating the Twinkies in the first place.
There's a reason you're eating the Twinkies.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the work that we do. And that's the reason that every good coach has a great coach behind them as well. I'm always working on things in my business, in my life, because there's always improvement to be made. That's what we're here for, is to help you get to the next level.
Yeah. So, what do you want to leave us with, Dawn? What do you want to kind of make sure we know, make sure we're like, whatever. Or, if you've got a freebie you want to share, and if you have a freebie you want to share or something.
Sure. in my group, if people pop into my group, they'll see it on the header. It's my guide to 7 nutrition lies, because I think one of the barriers to people getting started is there's so much information out there. And I would say there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I've got a guide out there with the 7 most common myths and how you can move past them. So grab that, it's free. But what I'd love to leave you with today is all about the power of choice. Because in the end, it's all a choice. And if you don't like whatever results you're getting, then it's time to make different choices. Because if the thought of jumping on the next diet hamster wheel really wants to make you curl up and cry, then instead stand up and say, no, enough's enough. It's time to make different choices.
I love that. That's awesome. Cool. Well, Dawn, thank you for joining us. And like Dawn said, you can find her in Never Diet Again, the Facebook group, and grab her freebie in there. And she's also in our group, the 6-Figure Spiritualpreneurs. So if you guys have thoughts and comments and anything, just reach out to her and friend her and all the stuff. And yeah, thanks, Dawn. Thanks for being here and sharing your wisdom with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I love to talk about food, so I'm happy to answer questions anytime.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna have to go in there and grab some recipes too. So that sounds like fun. Okay, cool. Thanks, Dawn. I'm gonna hit end, so it'll like totally end it, just so you know.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Bye.